Well, what's up again there, guys? Brian here at 3TR. I decided to do a little outside shooting for episode 187 of Other People's Questions. This time, rather, we got a much shorter episode coming from only about 3 of you guys. So to jump right into the first 2 questions come from another regular of mine going by the name of Thy Mapping Sniper. And you want to know, what Star Wars character would I like to play as in a Star Wars game, but it can't be Boba Fett or Han Solo? Well, buddy, I wouldn't want to play as either one of those characters because I don't like them. Personally, I would like to play, I would love to play a game around younger Obi-Wan Kenobi. Not old Ben from A New Hope, which can't use a damn lightsaber to save his life, literally. But yeah, I would pick Obi-Wan Kenobi. I do believe there actually is an Obi-Wan Kenobi game. I just can't remember when it came out, but I would love to see a modern day version kind of going to what he was doing on Tatooine before A New Hope. That would be really interesting to see. Next question is, how overrated do I think The Last of Us 2 will be? Well, since I think The Last of Us is without question the most overrated game in the history of gaming, I don't really care about how overrated The Last of Us 2 is going to be because I have no plans on playing it or wanting to acknowledge it on my channel. That's how much I don't like The Last of Us. Going to your last question. Do I like the Star Wars PlayStation 4 bundle? You were going to get it, but Destiny bundle came out and you decided not to get that one. So should you get it? You know, I totally forgot that was coming out. That PlayStation looks beautiful. I would just love the Vader style controller. Never mind the console. I just got the Destiny bundle pack because I wanted a second PlayStation 4 and I wanted one that wasn't black. So I kind of like how I now have a PlayStation 4 that one is black and one is white. But yeah, if you are interested in getting the Star Wars bundle pack, then I say go for it because that is a very beautiful looking controller. I wish they sold those separately though. The next 2 questions come from Henry Rashish, and you want to know, what is my favorite Destiny subclass? Okay, by far, without question, I love the new Sunbreaker class for Titan. That hammer is no joke. I mean, the electricity from, I believe, and the bow are cool, but to have a physical weapon of just a symbol of power, like it reminds me like if I had Thor's hammer. Like if that sucker had been able to shoot electricity instead of fire, then you know they should have called it Thor's hammer. But yeah, I love my Sunbreaker class for Titan class. That's definitely my favorite. And your last question is, what are my thoughts on No Man's Sky? I think that is going to be probably one of the most interesting games that comes out in the next few years. It looks very artistically astute. It's probably one of the most. I think it's going to utilize the whole Morpheus headset very, very well. I have not had a chance to really test that out myself, but it's certainly unlike anything I've ever seen. The only concern I have is if they're going to keep on their word as this. Is this going to be as expansive as some would like to think? Because I think they said that this thing was going to have like thousands of worlds that you could explore, and they're all different, and how you get there affects, you know, it's kind of like a randomized system of how these planets are created and how you explore them. A lot of games really do try to make that promise of it being as expansive, and then when you actually get them, you'll realize that it's actually not as big as you were expecting. So I'm just hoping that for No Man's Sky, it doesn't repeat the same process. And the last 3 questions come from, I believe, a newbie for the channel. I'm not sure. I haven't recognized this name before, but maybe you've been here before. Coming from Tescular Fortitude. That does kind of ring a bell. And you had just 3 simple questions, since apparently I don't like horror, which I don't like it, but I will admit that there have been a couple of things that have legitimately scared me. But that was years and years and years ago. Once I get scared once from something, it never happens again. But the 3 questions are, what is my favorite Resident Evil game? Without question, it's 4. Resident Evil 4 was the first in the franchise I ever played, and to this day, it remains the first video game to ever legitimately scare me, because I had never played anything like this. I mean, I mean, I was mainly a fighting and RPG kind of person, so to play a third-person survival horror game was a completely new experience, and it took me 3 days to beat it on my first time on the PlayStation 2. Now I can kind of run through it in about like 4 or 6 hours. Your next question is, what is my favorite Silent Hill game? I don't like Silent Hill, period. I think it's ridiculous. I see Silent Hill as a comedy. If you think that's scary, then you have not seen real fear. I've actually seen some really scary stuff in my life that's real, not disturbing. So, yeah, Silent Hill has never worked for me. And the last question is, what is my favorite survival horror game that isn't any of these two franchises? That's an easy one to call, and that is Dead Space. I love Dead Space. Dead Space is the second game of all games that's legitimately scared me. A lot of people like to say, oh, all Dead Space is a bunch of jump scares, which I'll admit there are definitely a lot of them, but it's the creature design of the necromorphs. It's the atmosphere. I mean, you're trapped on this abandoned space station that's just riddled with bodies, and you never know when a corpse might mutate to a necromorph and just attack you. And the necromorph designs are completely unique, and it's the fact that it's different from most other shooters, which require you to shoot at the body. You have to shoot at the limbs. And if you shoot off the head, that's even worse, because then they mutate and then they just go all rabid and just attack you really fast. It's the atmosphere, it's the lore that I love about Dead Space the most. In my opinion, Dead Space is way above Resident Evil. It's by far my favorite, quote, horror franchise. I really would love to see them do a Dead Space 4. I have loved both of the animated movies that they have come out with. I think they're phenomenal. I think they're definitely some of the best animated-based video game movies that we've had to date. And I cannot just say enough good things about Dead Space. I'll admit that Dead Space 3 did kind of lose its way a little bit, adding the co-op element and being much more action-orientated. Although I will admit that Dead Space 2 is technically my favorite. But Dead Space, love the Dead Space franchise, and that really is it stands apart from any other game in the franchise. So without that, those are the questions that you guys sent for this particular episode. I'd like to thank you three for making this episode possible. If you guys have any more questions that you would like me to answer in next week's episode, be sure to type them in the comments down below. Make sure you get them into me before next Wednesday, before I start filming this. And if you like this video, feel free to like, comment down below, and please subscribe to check me in my future videos every Friday. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I'll see you next time.